Constance with QUEENLYME.com, your place for tips and inspiration on learning love and pursuing purpose the right way, okay? Last week, I gave you a possible reason, if not the reason, why why we tend to stay in relationships that we know are toxic. We know we should end it, but we just can't. Why? Or if we do end it, we end up going right back. Why? The answer, a lot of times, and I will even go on a limb and say 99.9% of the time, is because we have a soul tie with them. That post was part 1 of a mini-series I'm doing on soul ties because it's just too much information to throw at you at once. Okay, I don't want your head to explode. If you haven't read the blog post or watched the video on part 1, it's entitled Why You Can't Get Over Him, then I would suggest watching that one before this one, and I will link it in the description box. Today in part 2, I want to talk about how these soul ties are formed, because a lot of people just don't know. And things happen, and we look up 5 years from now when we're in a situation and we're like, how in the world did I even get here? Like, really trying to retrace in our minds what occurred that got me in this place, that got me in this relationship. Why am I in this mess with you right now? Let me retrace my memory because I don't even remember how it all started. I'm going to tell you 4 ways that soul ties can be formed, and I'm going to give you the godly version of these soul ties because soul ties were created by God for a good purpose. And then I'm going to give you the ungodly form of these soul ties, the form that Satan has created in order to get us out of the will of God and off the path of our purpose. As I said in part 1, a lot of people think that soul ties can only be formed by 2 people having sex with each other. But I believe this is yet another deception that Satan is trying to use to keep us in the dark and that much further from our complete freedom. Not so, okay? Not up in here. We gonna get free today. Hello? Huh? Y'all ready? Okay, let's figure out how this all started. One of the reasons that God created soul ties was to form unity. I like to think of a soul tie as a magnet. It's supposed to bond you and draw you towards people or groups that you need to survive and serve a purpose with. Physical soul ties are formed between biological family members. They are formed during the consummation of a marriage to bring a husband and wife into oneness with each other. And they also can form by showing physical affection towards our family members or people that we care about, such as a hug, a kiss, a rub on the back, a pat on the arm. You get the idea. Ungodly physical soul ties are formed by having sex outside of marriage or engaging in physical affection with the intent or thoughts of having sex outside of marriage. Many times we stay in unhealthy, abusive, stagnant relationships purely because the physical connection we have with someone is keeping us blind to the reality of just how toxic the situation is. We'll start making excuses for this person. We'll use love and loyalty as the reasons why we need to stay in the situation instead of distancing ourselves from that person because we can't. Like I said, a soul tie is like a magnet. And when you create a physical soul tie with someone, you can only get so far before it just snatches you back. Have you ever tried to pull 2 magnets apart from each other? Like, you can only pull them so far apart before they come back together. That's what a soul tie does, essentially. And this is why it is so hard to leave a relationship that you know you need to leave. You really don't see any reason to stay. You might want to leave, but you can't. But once those physical lines are crossed, you have to break that soul tie in order to do it once and for all. And this is also why sex with no strings attached is completely impossible. There are strings, okay? Whether you notice them, whether you see them, whether you deny them, whether you act like they're not there, it does not matter. There's always strings attached, and those strings are called soul ties. The second type of soul tie is an emotional soul tie. And these are created by sharing emotional feelings and experiences with someone. When you go through ups and downs, highs and lows with somebody, that has a tendency to strengthen your bond with them. Godly emotional soul ties were meant to keep you protected, to keep you encouraged, to keep you accountable during tough and trying times. It's the reason that instead of leaving your friend out in the cold because they're going through too much and you don't want to be a part of it, it makes you want to stand and fight with them. It makes you want to hold their hand and be their strength when they don't have any. The ungodly version of an emotional soul tie is when someone plays on your emotions, and when they use certain situations, sometimes create certain situations in order to draw you near to them, in order to manipulate you into loving them, not leaving them, or because they are looking for a desired outcome and they want you to do it for them, or they want you to help them do it. But when I say people will create situations, all the time this isn't done maliciously, because every toxic person doesn't necessarily know that they are toxic. And this is where the loyalty factor comes in the strongest, because when you think about everything you've been through with someone, it's hard to let go. You don't want to just give up on everything. And a lot of times you feel like if I give up now, then all the stuff I've put up with up until now was a waste of my time and my life. Like, a lot of times we sabotage ourselves into making what we have already gone through worth it, if that makes any sense. The third type of soul tie is a spiritual soul tie. We are spiritual beings. As C.S. Lewis says, you don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body. So God uses spiritual soul ties as his tool of choice for his education system. He uses spiritual soul ties as a way to transfer knowledge, skill, wisdom from one person to another. And you better believe, because of God's education system, Satan has created his own bootleg version of it, and it's weak, okay? It's weak, but it still gets people hung up on it. Satan will always send the perfect people in your life to teach you all the wrong things. His sole purpose is to get you out of God's will, to get you to go against God's word, and to completely destroy your purpose and ultimately your life. So he will introduce you to that person that will show you a sex life that will blow your mind. However, you might also end up with a child that you have to raise by yourself, causing you to have to drop out of college and forfeit or delay serving your purpose because of that. It's important to inspect the spirit of every person we allow ourselves to connect with, because it is inevitable that you learn and ultimately become the people that you spend the most time with. The fourth type of soul tie is a social soul tie. Just as we are spiritual creatures, we are social creatures. Godly social soul ties were created for the purpose of making sure there was harmony in the world and making sure that we have each other's backs and we look out for each other. It eliminates the whole every man for himself thing, which eventually would end up leading to our extinction. Ungodly social soul ties are formed when someone is trying to create a team around an ungodly purpose. So this is where your hate groups come in. This is where your intolerance groups come in. These groups are created for the sole purpose of causing division and leading to chaos in a population, a society, in the world. On every scale from large to small, it creates division between friends, between family members. I feel like most people at some point were all a part of like a clique in school. You had your group of people, and if somebody wanted to come and sit at y'all's lunch table or something, you would give them a slight side eye and be like, but it's just us, like, you're not a part of this. We have to stop thinking that demonic things happen on such large levels. It's easy to see racial hate, but it's harder to see the little subtle ways that we cause division in our own lives by saying, you, not you. This place, not this place. I'm sitting here, not over here by this person. That causes division as well. It's easier to perpetuate that division if we are doing it in small groups together. So as you can imagine, some of these soul ties can develop from one type to another. For example, a co-worker relationship could turn into an emotional relationship after one day sharing thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences, and then that can turn into a physical relationship. Now that's not ideal, but you get the point. So last week I suggested for you to give a rundown of all the relationships in your life and to determine whether the soul tie you have with these people are godly or ungodly. This week, I want you to decide what type of soul tie you have with each person. Improvement always starts with understanding, and if you can get a better idea of what foundation these relationships are built on, then you'll have a more solid ground to stand on when you get ready to chop down the relationships that are toxic and that are not serving a good purpose in your life. Stay tuned for part 3 of this mini series on soul ties. And if you happen to like the shirt that I'm wearing, please know that you can get one just for yourself by going to the online store at QUEENLYME.com. I will be sending random $10 gifts out to people. If you want to get $10 to go towards your purchase, then go ahead over to QUEENLYME.com/subscribe and join the royal family. Also, go to QUEENLYME.com/shop in order to see the rest of the designs and the styles that we have. Every design is on 30 different products, so go ahead and get creative. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you same place next time. Bye.